Hello and welcome to my first video related to board games ever. I'm going to go over my top 10 of all time. I'm going to start with my top 10 from last year, and then we'll go into my latest top 10 for this year. Coming in at number 10 last year is Merchants and Marauders, a great pirate-based sandbox type game where you can be a pirate, you can attack the other players, or you can just be a merchant. Shopping around the Mediterranean, selling goods, buying goods. It's kind of, you can play the game almost any way you want. That's what I really like about this game. Coming in at number 9 is Wits and Wagers, a kind of a cross between a party game and a gambling game. You kind of answer trivia questions, and then you kind of guess who got the right answer by bidding on the answers you think are going to be correct. And it's kind of fun and really escalates towards the end where everybody's kind of bidding crazy amounts. It's a really fun party game. Coming in at number 8, it's a little 2-player game, Jaipur. It's one of my wife's and I favorite game. Basically it's a game of set collection. Knowing when to grab the sets. The longer you wait, the more you get in a set, the more valuable it is, but the other person can jump you and get more points. The quicker you buy certain materials, some resources, you get more points. So if you kind of wait too long, they can jump ahead of you. It's a great little 2-player game. Coming in at number 7, I think it's 7, is the massive box of Caverna. It's a farming, mining, kind of worker placement game that plays up to, I think, 7 or 8 players. It's unusual for a worker placement to play that many people. It's just a great fun, kind of build a farm, build your cave, and at the end you kind of have a little area that you built yourself. It's kind of cool. So. Coming in at number 6 is Splendor, a great, another kind of set collection game, engine building kind of game where you buy cards, and those cards allow you to buy more and more valuable cards in an effort to get the most victory points. It's a real neat game. It plays well 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. So. Coming in at number 5, Epic Spell Wars. A great laugh out loud, funny game. Kind of you're attacking your other opponent's last man standing kind of game, and spell combos that you pull off are hilarious. The wording of them, so it's a great little fun, fairly quick. Kind of take that, attack people kind of game. Coming in at number 4 is Pandemic, a great cooperative game, family friendly. You can make the game as hard or as easy as you want. Just a great work together, trying to solve a puzzle kind of game. Great game. Coming in at number 3 is Couriers. This is the Quarterfacts expansion, but this has got 3 or 4 expansions in the box. A great dice chucking, battling game for kind of a lighter weight game, similar to Epic Spell Wars, where you're attacking your neighbor and trying to get the most points at the end. But you roll tons and tons of dice. You buy more dice as you go along. You kind of build. It's kind of a dice building game, similar to Dominion but with dice. So a really fun game. Coming in number 2 last year is King of Tokyo. Seem to see a trend here of attacking your opponent's kind of games. This is a fun, very, very lightweight, dice rolling, last man standing, king of the hill kind of game with a Yahtzee mechanic where you roll and you can re-roll a couple of times trying to get the dice that you want to either attack your neighbors or get victory points. Great game. Coming in at number 1 last year, Pit. This game is over 100 years old and still hilarious when you play it with a group of people. It's a kind of a speed trading game with you just scream and yell and cry and laugh, trying to get a complete set of one commodity, and you get to ring the bell, which is always fun. Invariably, we're screaming, laughing, yelling, and out of breath by the time this game's over. Great game. So that's 2014, and in 2015, I would guess I probably played 100 to 150 different games. So it's not a surprise that my list for this year is almost completely different. And so let's start it off. Coming in at number 10 is, this isn't the game that's number 10. The actual game that's number 10 is the Blood Bowl 3rd edition, kind of a miniatures football game that I played when I was a teenager and in college. This is a card version of that game. Sadly I don't own the Blood Bowl 3rd edition, but I do play it on my computer now, and that just revived how much I loved this game when I was younger, and it was just a blast to set up a team and do a full season and playoffs and the whole 9 yards. It's no pun intended. It's a great game. I really wish I still had it. I gave it away when I think I left college, and I haven't had it since. But I do play the computer game that uses the same basic rules, and I love that game. So it kind of revived my memories of that game. Coming in at number 9, and obviously it wasn't on the list last year. Coming in at number 9 is Sheriff of Nottingham, one of my favorite negotiation, bluffing, I just love this game because invariably at some point I say this is what's going to happen, and I give it this very convoluted, humongous deal involving 2 or 3 players, and it's so much fun to catch people and to people to trick you. It's just a great kind of a family-ish weight bluffing and negotiation game. Great game. Coming in at number 8, I guess it is, Castles of Mad King Ludwig. A great auction-based building a castle game where deciding how much you charge for each room, and then your opponents get to pick which ones they want to buy. It's a great kind of brain burner, kind of outthinking your opponents, and you want to the rooms you want to buy, you want to do cheap, but you don't have to pay much. But if you do that, someone else might snatch them up. So you got to really kind of judge what they're willing to pay, and you build a castle, and it's interesting how the tiles interact, and you get bonus points for certain tiles being next to each other. And at the end, you have a really weird looking castle. I guess that's where the Mad King part comes from. Great fun game, auction tile placing game. Coming in at number 7, I guess. 7 is a brand new game, Voyages of Marco Polo. Great game. It's a dice placement game. I love dice placement games. There's several other in my collection, Kingsburg, and I'm considering Alien Frontiers just because of how much I love that mechanic of dice placement. And this game has a variable setup, so each time it's different. You have different powers, you have different goals, you have different cities to visit. It's every game is completely different. Wonderful game. Very new to my collection. That rocketed in the top 10 immediately. Great game. So coming in at number 6 is this massive box of heaviness is War of the Ring 2nd edition. Great simulation of the Lord of the Rings books. One player plays the Fellowship, the other plays Sauron and his minions and his allies. Great battle simulation, card play, dice rolling, all kinds of, it has everything. And it always seems to come down to the last couple of turns, whether the Fellowship is going to destroy the ring or if they become corrupted and decide that they wanted to keep the ring and Sauron wins. So it's a great, amazing simulation of the books. Coming in at number, what is it, 5? Number 5. Another massive big box game, Star Trek Fleet Captain. It's a great simulation of a battle between the Federation and the Klingons. One side takes the Federation and the other side takes the Klingons, and you get variable ships. The ships you start with are kind of randomized. The cards you get, it's kind of you kind of build your deck beforehand, but it's still random with the cards you're going to get each turn and how you use them. And you have events and missions and all kinds of craziness, exploring a part of the galaxy and invariably butting heads and blowing ships up. It's just a great, fun Star Trek simulation game. Along the same lines as my number 4, Xia. It's another great space simulation. It's kind of in the Merchants and Marauders vein. It's kind of an open sandbox type game where you can explore the area around you. You can be a merchant. You can be a pirate. You can do illegal missions. You can do legal missions. You can try to blindly fly around the galaxy and invariably run into the sun and explode. And it's just a great sandbox. Do what you want to do. You can win being a pirate. You can win completely doing everything legal. There's bad guys that chase you around the board. There's good guys that'll chase you if you're a bad guy, and there's always the players ready to attack you. So a great space simulation, kind of an exploration kind of game. Xia, another fairly new game to my collection. Coming in at number 3, and it's the only one from my list last year. It's the only one that survived, the only one that's hanging on. Warriors, one of my favorite dice chucking, dice building, attack your neighbor kind of game. It's still hanging on. It was 3 last year. It's 3 this year, and I don't see it going anywhere. I love this game so much. I'm still slowly buying all the expansions, and each one just makes the game better and better. Warriors, and probably one of my favorite dice games, except for the one that's about to come up next. New to the list is Dice Masters, specifically the D&D one. I love the D&D. Harkens to my childhood of sitting around the table playing D&D, and it just simulates that so well. You have a group of adventurers fighting monsters, or adventurers and monsters fighting each other, and you can level up your characters. It's just a great dice chucking, attack your neighbor 2-player game. I have the X-Men and the Avengers as well, but the D&D one is the one I really love. So number 2, D&D Dice Masters. My number 1 was a little surprise to me. I went through my top kind of 100 games, and this game just kept going up and up and up the list, and I was so surprised where it landed. I thought for sure one of my other games would end up as number 1, but I can't deny how amazing this game is. It's viticulture. It's just a great worker placement, engine building game. You would think a winemaking game would be boring, but this game has so much tension of where's my opponent going to go, what places are going to get taken, what do I need to do to make sure I get that spot that I really, really need this round. It's just a great game. It always seems to come down to that last turn. Can you sell that wine that you've been building up to get enough victory points to win? And how many victory points can your opponent get this last turn? Can they catch you if you make that big move? A really, really great worker placement game. My favorite game. So we'll see how many of these hang on for next year. I play a lot of games, so we'll see. I suspect some of these will hang on better than the group from last year will. So, this is my first video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.